guys, PrinceofMacedon here, going to do a commentary video for Rome Total War. This is an online multiplayer battle. This is part of my what if scenarios. This is where I place a commander against another commander who they have never fought before. So it's what if. In this particular scenario, I'm going to pit Hannibal of Carthage versus Alexander the Great, two tactical geniuses, two masters of warfare. In this first fight, I'm going to command the Carthaginians under Hannibal, and my opponent's anonymous, but he will command Alexander the Great's Macedonians. And in the next battle, I will command Alexander the Great's Macedonians, and my opponent will use the army that I'm using now. So let's just say this. I based my Carthaginian army on the Carthaginian army found at the Battle of Cannae. Unfortunately, I could not take into account the Gallic wars that were present because this game does not have them available for the Carthaginians. As for the Macedonians, they have the army that Alexander the Great would have had at the Battle of Gaugamela, but they do not get the support of the city-states. I took them out of the equation since my Carthaginians don't have the Gauls. So both armies would have been almost equal in size. Like, both armies would have had about 40,000 infantry. That would be heavy and light infantry. The cav arm, the Carthaginians would have had the superiority there, in terms of numbers anyways. The Carthaginians at the Battle of Cannae would have had around 10,000, whereas the Macedonians at the Battle of Gaugamela would have had around 7,000. Look at my deployment, guys. I want to be like Hannibal. I'm going to use stratagem, cunning, and trickery to fight my opponent. I have hidden units of Iberian infantry, and also my Numidian cav are hidden as well. Something that Hannibal would have done too. And my opponent's acting just like Alexander the Great. He's launching this attack. It's very direct. He's going right at me. He's coming at me with all of his cav down my right wing here. He's going right at my round shields. I'm gonna let my Libyan spearmen take the brunt of that cav charge, and he actually routed some of my cav right there. Very nasty. But whereas Alexander the Great was very direct and liked to attack, Hannibal he liked to counterattack. He would meet the enemy halfway and then he would attack. And he would use, as I said, stratagem, trickery, cunning, ambushes, anything he could to gain an edge over the opponent. Alexander was more direct in his approach. Alright, so look at this. I launched my Numidians. This was an ambush. And we actually routed Alexander the Great from the battlefield. Pretty sweet stuff. Not very realistic though. Alexander the Great would rather die than rout from the battlefield. But look, we have the Macedonian cav on the run. And all this was due in part to my cav ambush, because he did not see my hidden Numidian cav, so I was able to encircle his cav from all sides. So here's my Numidians launching their pila. Sorry, not their pila, their javelins. They do not use pila. Alright. So yeah, I've got my cav chasing after his cav. I don't want them coming back from the battlefield. Look what's happening here. My opponent's launching his phalanx. The phalanx was very intimidating. Look at that. Look at all those sarissas. I've got my 20 infantry to receive this phalanx advance. So I might have won the cat fight, but the infantry fight's gonna be really rough. Look at this. My phalanx got, or I guess my smaller phalanx got surrounded by his phalanx, and I took my other phalanx troops, and I'm just gonna chase down his other units here. So it became really chaotic when I went to fight off his cav. In doing so, my infantry got screwed. Here I tried to launch a hammered anvil strike against his phalanx pikeman here. Sorry, his royal pikeman right there. But because my opponent got routed, it was no longer a hammered anvil strike. It was more just of a hammer strike without the anvil. So that wasn't very useful. He's gonna turn around. He's gonna kill my Numidian cav. Little micro lapse there by myself. Here is my dudes. I'm going to take out his archers. I'm taking strikes wherever I can. And here's one mistake my opponent made here. These phalanx pikemen got way too far ahead of his troops, and that happened because of all the chaos. So look, I took all my troops.
Your general has chosen cowardice and runs
and look at that, my general's running away. So both Hannibal and Alexander ran from the battlefield. Kind of interesting. But look at this. This was the mistake my opponent made. He was chasing after some of my pony infantry during all that ruckus. So now I'm going to isolate this unit here. I'm going to take all my troops and I'm going to bash these dudes in. My opponent's still concentrating on the fight over here. See this? I left some troops back there to confuse my opponent and distract him. So I'm trying to be like Hannibal. And here's my guys. We are destroying this one unit of phalanx pikemen. I'm going to take what I can. I'm going to weaken the Macedonians before I launch my decisive blow. I mean, it can be said that my ambush at the beginning was decisive. It was. That was decisive for the first stage of the battle, where I cleared his cav from the battlefield. But now I have to deal with his extremely powerful phalanx here. And they are backed up with the support of some light infantry. Here's some peltists and some archers. Pretty rough fight. Yeah, I'm so glad that I was able to clear his cav from the battlefield, because this would have been a nightmare fighting his phalanx and his cav at the same time. It's my Libyan spearmen. I'm gonna chase after his peltists. They were going to run away on auto mode. They have the speed to outrun my Libyan spearmen. So yeah, basically, I ran all my other guys away from his phalanx. I did not want to fight them, because you saw what happened to my guys at the beginning. So I'm gonna buy enough time for the rest of my army to catch up. See this? These guys were out chasing his cav and out chasing his isolated unit of phalanx pikemen. Here I use my Numidians to lay the smackdown on these archers, who had their blades drawn. So they are routed from the battlefield. And looky over here, this is my opponent's second huge mistake here. Because he wants to put an end to this battle, he's been chasing my guys out of phalanx mode. But these guys routed because I had my Balearic Slingers harassing them. They were right here. See these guys? I routed a unit of phalanx pikemen with just using my Balearic Slingers here. But here is my opponent's second big mistake here. In his rush to chase after my guys, his guys were stuck out of phalanx mode. So that's what happens when I fight these battles and they're widespread. I try to confuse my opponent. I'll make it widespread so that micro plays a bigger role in these battles. So yeah, I'm going to surround his troops here. He's going to try to surround me too, look at this. But they're also out of phalanx mode. So his guys are actually going to rout before the rest of his phalanx can get there in time. Look at this. All ruckus, guys. But funny thing about phalanx pikemen is that if they rout next to another phalanx pike unit, then it can cause a mass chain rout. Like, they're really tough against, I mean, at least against the infantry that I'm using. But if you can rout one of them and they're all linked together, then this can happen. See this chain rout? Look at that. This can very well happen. And that's the danger of using phalanx pikemen. I'm just gonna run right into them. Here I launch hammer and naval strikes on these phalanx pikemen here, and they rout too. So, for this battle, Hannibal defeats Alexander the Great. Unfortunately, my opponent here could not come back for the second match, so I had to find a new opponent where I take command of Alexander the Great.
Victory lies in your grasp,
But
and
good game to my opponent. Very tough battle.